Dogs are men's best friend. Find out why and how. Up next on Carpe Diem. Hello and welcome to Carpe Diem. I'm Alex Guilloty. At the end of every semester, the Sprague Library and the Health Promotion Department at Montclair State work together to bring an array of furry friends to the library. This is in an effort to help students alleviate the anxiety or the stress caused by the last weeks of a grueling semester. The event is extremely popular as students wait to enter the library for the chance to pet and even take selfies with the numerous therapy animals on site. Joining me today are Denise O'Shea, Head of Access Services and Systems at MSU's Sprague Library, and Stephanie Barone, Student Staff Member of Health Promotion, also at MSU. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Our pleasure.
So I'll start with you first, Denise. You created or organized this event. Tell me, what was the idea behind it? Why did you get it started? And how long has it been going on?
Okay, well, the pet therapy program that we've been co-sponsoring with MSU Health Promotion has been going on for about 3 years here at Montclair State. I originally got the idea from my local public library. The children's department had a program where young kids could come in and read to dogs. It was a way to help children get more comfortable with reading in public. I took my daughter to the program and afterwards stuck around and spoke with the librarian in charge to find out why they did this, and also to the pet therapy person to learn a little bit more about the work that they were doing. So it gave me an idea that I brought back to my library that this could be helpful for our students. Fortunately, I have a very supportive group of staff members that I work with. My program assistant, Lori Petrozello, and my library dean both were very supportive of the idea. So we started doing some research to find out how we could bring these dogs to our library.
And did you start getting volunteer dogs to come in? How did you attain or get the dogs to come to the library?
Well, it was a whole process. First, we did some research to understand what were the steps that we needed to take. And we learned that there were some legal issues, some insurance and liability issues that might have to be addressed. Certainly, we had to find out whether or not this was even allowed on our campus. So we did our background in research, and it was while we were doing that we learned that MSU Health Promotion was doing the same exact thing, that they had an idea, and we thought, let's work together.
Very, very nice. So Stephanie, you're from the Health Promotion Department.
Yep.
And so you were contacted by Denise, and together you guys organized this event.
Yep.
Where did the dogs come from?
They came from Creatures of Comfort, so it was an outside organization from MSU, and we invited them, told them our plan, and as we went through all the logistics of the program, just worked. It took from the beginning of a year to the end of the next spring semester's finals to actually get them on the campus.
Wow. How long have the therapy dogs been coming to the library since the beginning of the event?
I guess it's been about 3 years.
Yeah, and they come every finals. Once we have them come, we book them for the next week.
You had one this past Wednesday.
That's right.
How comparable is it to the past other 3 years? How good has it been?
I think it's maintained to be a very popular program. The numbers go up and down slightly, but there's always an excellent turnout.
Do you get a lot of feedback? Do students come back to you and say, this is amazing, please keep doing it?
You know what's great is as they walk out with the puppies, I was swiping in for like this event on Wednesday. They all are like, I'm so happy, this was so nice. I miss my dog at home. I can't wait. You know, I love this part. I love this day. So
that's really cool. Do you have pets, Miss Denise?
I don't.
Okay, but do you
But
interact?
I love animals, and I always try to take a few moments to interact with them. It's one of the highlights of the semester, really.
Very awesome, and it's very popular because I see that there's lines that are literally down like the campus walkways. You also recently had an event on Thursday, and it was introducing miniature horses. Talk about that.
Yep, so this was a top secret event all semester. We've been planning it to bring in miniature therapy horses. Similar idea to the dogs, but it's got a new novelty twist to it, being the mini horses. And it was an awesome success. We had it outside in the Student Center Annex, little lobby area, courtyard, and it was just as successful as the
Just
dogs.
as successful. It's really good to hear that, because there's obvious this connection between animals and humans. Throughout these years that you've had the event at the library, have there ever been any cats?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. The very first year that we did the event, we did have some students come up and say, not really crazy about dogs. Dogs make me nervous. I'm really more of a cat person. Can you get a therapy cat? And I didn't think such a thing existed. So I asked, because I did my diligence. I said, well, I'm going to ask. And they said yes. So the next time around, there was a therapy cat. We had to, of course, keep the therapy cat separate from the therapy dog. So we found another space in the library. But sadly, the therapy cat is no longer with the group. So it may be a while before we have another cat again.
Interesting. The dogs come from Comfort Creatures, and the miniature horses
They're
come
from somewhere else.
They're from another facility that provides them and brings them to the location. That's awesome, because I feel that in some way or another, animals do or help us in a therapeutical way of some sort. Mm-hmm. Stephanie, can you speak a little bit about why or how there's this connection that somehow helps us therapeutically?
Oh yeah, so like why we bring them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's really great about bringing them is they first and foremost are a distraction. That last week right before finals is very stressful for all students. So that distraction of having the dogs is a great break that lowers blood pressure, relieves anxiety, gives you a smile, takes your mind off of everything you might have coming on that week. So
that's
really awesome.
We had a conversation earlier in the year, me and Denise, and you mentioned that you're glad that it's working, that it's successful, because it brings people into the library, which is, in a sense, talk a little bit about that.
Right. Well, we thought the program would be great for our campus because we wanted to stress that while the library is certainly there for students' research needs, to help them with their papers, to supply them with quiet places to study, places where they can do their group projects. We want to show them that the library is so much more, that we really care about students' overall well-being, that we recognize that the end of the semester is a very stressful time for them. So we thought this would be something fun that would make them think of the library in a different light, and maybe even bring in students who might not normally use our services.
And it works. It's been obviously very successful. Do you get a lot of word of mouth, or do people come into the library and say, "Hey, when's the next one?" Is there a constant questioning?
There is a lot of word of mouth. In the beginning, we used to put flyers up everywhere, but because it's so popular, I think we've kind of backed away from that. We don't need that level of promotion, but we do. The library and MSU Health Promotion both make extensive use of social media. So we try to promote it through our Facebook, through our Twitter, and Health Promotion also has Instagram account. So people can see the build up to the event and then the photos afterwards. They see the smiles and just how successful it is.
Stephanie, speak about that, the Instagram feedback that you get from I'm pretty sure that immediately as they are in taking selfies with these pets, that's instantly on the internet. Talk a little about that.
We actually, on the way out of the puppies, we hand them our social media card and say, tag us in your photos. And then we save the photos and repost them on our social media and say these, so everyone can see how great the program is, and so they look out for it the next semester.
When this first started and when you guys came up with this idea, was it something that you guys discussed amongst each other at the health promotion department, or is it something that a student came in and said, hey, can you maybe do this?
Right. So what's really great about health promotion, as a student volunteer or staff member there, you can work to make your own event. So this was one volunteer's idea in September. She had it during the training, and she worked from that September, and once we got on board with the library and everything, all the way to that last spring, and it was really awesome.
And when it comes to promoting it, you also promoted it in that fashion also, like flyers and email blasts or word of mouth?
Of course, Red Hawk News, stuff like that, yeah.
That is incredible because it's become very successful. You think that you'll continue on? It'll be something that you'll pass along to other freshmen or at the health department?
Yeah,
and it'll be something that...
And we're always looking for new ideas too, as I'm sure you are. So if students have ideas for other programs that they would like to see, please let us know.
How many dogs come into the library? Like how many dogs would Comfort Creatures give you guys?
It varies. I think we've had anywhere from 4 to maybe 6.
This time we had 4.
And you allow students to come in like 5 at a time? Like what would be the...
25. So it's about 4 to 5 per furry friend.
How long do the lines tend to last? Like, are they like long, like, do they wait there for 10, 20 minutes or?
Well, it was interesting. This time around, the program started at 1, but people started lining up at 12:30.
Yeah.
They were that excited. So by 1 o'clock, the line had really built. In terms of the timing, the students, they go in and out for designated time slots. The first time we did it for about 2 hours, and we found that at the end of it, the dogs were really tired. So we cut it back to 90 minutes.
Interesting. I was going to ask that maybe perhaps it could have been something that you could have done for a longer period of time. However, wow, that is very...
They get tired because it's like 7-minute increments for the students. So they see those 25 students in that room for about 7 minutes, and then we let the next 25 students in. So they're getting constant love and giving constant love for a long time.
And this is always at the end of the school year, during like the finals week. Would you ever consider doing it in the middle of the semester for maybe midterms?
It's a possibility. We do have a de-stress like midterms time, like we do a week then too.
Sure.
So it is definitely a possibility.
And in regards to the miniature horses, because that's just incredible, how many horses came to the campus?
2.
2. This is yesterday. And then they corral them, or students get to
So originally it was
them?
going to be in a classroom, just like the puppies were. But it was such a nice day out on Thursday that we had them outside. And yep, they just hung around the courtyard, and students were able to just come up, pet them, play with them, take pictures, because that's the best part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any connection to those pets that are brought out in the middle of the campus grounds in the beginning of the semester for like Red Hawk Spirit Week? Is there any connection to that? Do you guys work together with them in any way? They usually bring in like an array of farm animals of some sort.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, the petting zoo, yeah.
No, the library's not involved in that.
It's still something
either.
that amazingly helps students, and it's something that alleviates their stress. We appreciate your time here on the show. Thank you so much helping us
Thank you.
understand that. Therapy dogs are awesome, dogs in general, pets as well. Thank you so much. I, in addition to therapy dogs, can also provide additional help as service pets. C&I is a facility that prepares and trains certain dogs to provide assistance to people who are blind. Take a look.
My name is Brian Mckenna. I work for the Seeing Eye. I'm a dog guide instructor. We are in Morristown, New Jersey. We've been here since 1954 and 1955. I've been working here for, this is going on my 12th year. And my job is to train the Seeing Eye dogs, and then I teach our visually impaired graduates. We've been a nonprofit organization in the United States for over 85 years. Our students that come to get a dog for the class experience, they live here on our beautiful campus, have their own room. It's just them and their dog. No frills, we're all business here, but the instructors have their own room as well. A person would qualify for a Seeing Eye dog by having an applicant interview in their home to evaluate whether they would be a good, safe candidate for a Seeing Eye dog.
When Vash Ryan was ready for a service pet, he contacted the CNI. After filling out applications and going through a series of tests, the CNI was able to match him up with a dog based on his personality. In addition, Vash's walking speed was considered when pairing him to Ozzy, who is his service pet today.
We match our students with a particular Seeing Eye dog based on the pace at which they want to walk and the pull at which they're comfortable being guided by. We would then take into account their personality, student that is, and the dog's personality. We train Labrador Retrievers, we train Golden Retrievers, we train German Shepherds. The training cycle is minimum of 4 months. We train the dogs all with repetition and positive reinforcement to do their job, which is to safely guide a visually impaired person to and from their daily routine, wherever that may be.
This very same facility helped our next guest, Yavash Bahraini, a postgraduate at MSU who partners with Ozzy, his service pet, trained by the ICN of Morristown, New Jersey. Welcome, Vash. Do you mind if I call you Vash?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. So
You forgot to introduce Ozzy.
Oh, and Ozzy, and thank you, Vash, and thank you, Ozzy. Tell us a little bit about your eye condition first so that we can understand that.
So I I suffer from a genetic issue called retinitis pigmentosa. It is a grouping of eye diseases. It pretty much kills off the rods, which are responsible for retaining light in the back of the eye. So the image that I get is actually pretty good, but all the light that the eye absorbs kind of like falls away. So the message that goes to the brain, even though the eye sees it properly, the brain interprets it very differently.
Okay.
So I have no peripheral vision, which is the sides, and I have no night vision. Think of it as sort of like a tunnel effect, but the tunnel keeps getting narrower and narrower. So it'll close up on me at some point.
Okay. And then you then decided that you were going to get a CNI dog.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that moment when you decided I'm going to get one and that process.
I lost my vision at about 21 years. I'm 33 now, but for the longest time I fought it. I didn't want to be blind. I don't think anybody really wants to go blind, but I went from sort of coping with the idea that I'm going to be blind, sort of forcing myself to at least use a cane, even though I hated the idea of having one with me everywhere. Okay. At around 28, I sort of decided, maybe I could utilize a guide dog because they tend to be very, a little bit smarter than I guess the average white cane, because the cane, although it's useful, it doesn't necessarily indicate that there's going to be any type of obstacle, that stairs might be coming up. Sure. That a cars might be like coming up at you. So you sort of figure, well, a dog is going to have different needs, but at least it'll be able to sort of like help you get to the corner.
Okay.
So when I was 28, I sort of decided to get a guide dog. I figured it would be a great companion. I'd never had a dog before. I always wanted a dog, and I had a perfect excuse. But the thing about him is I could have him everywhere. So most people have to leave their dogs home. I get to take them everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I filled out the paperwork and.
At the CNI facility?
Well, they sent me the paperwork. I filled it out that way. And then they made me go through blood work and make sure that I was good in terms of being able to have a dog. Okay. They came and assessed how I walk, if I'm actually very good at using a cane. You have to be extremely proficient in using a white cane. Right. Otherwise, they don't give you a guide dog. It's almost kind of like they want you to not need the dog.
Interesting.
So once they assessed that, down the paperwork and everything was signed, they did a psychological profile and sort of matched me with what they thought would be a good dog for me. And once they had that, they called me in and we went from there.
Yeah, we learned in the Roland that they do this matching or pairing you based to your personality or your character. Would you say that they matched you or paired you with a perfect service pet?
Yeah.
Think Ozzy is comparable to you?
The thing about him is I'm more of a quiet, silent, quiet type. He's a very outgoing dog. Okay. He doesn't make too much noise at all, but he's very, very friendly. So anybody we might talk to or meet, he wants to automatically step up and introduce himself, which is actually makes my life a little easier because it sort of becomes the icebreaker, the thing that sort of brings us together more.
Sure.
So I think he complements my personality more than he matches my personality. I think what I lack, he makes up for, and vice versa.
So talk about the day you met Ozzy, the day that you were introduced to him at the CNI facility.
So they sit you in a room pretty much by yourself. And before that, you're sitting in your room. When you go to the seeing eye, you actually are dormed.
Right.
And you stay there for about 28 days. The first 2 days, they're just giving you some preliminary training, kind of like basic stuff, and they're doing sort of a finalization of, is this dog going to be good for him or her? 2 days in, they sit you down in a room. They ask you if you're ready. Whenever you're ready, they leave the room and they bring the dog in with a leash.
Okay.
What happened was Ozzy came in, his tail was wagging as he usually does. He sort of came up to me, licked me, and kind of nipped me on the chin, and kind of walked around the room like, oh, this is really fascinating. I wonder what's around this place. And the trainer had to sort of coax him back to me.
Okay.
And what they did was they took their leash off of him, and I put my leash on, sort of like a traditional thing.
Oh.
And then we walked back to my room. For the first hour and a half, we sort of like, the goal is to sort of, figure each other out a little bit.
Sure.
So we played. He kind of ignored me. It was just kind of funny. He
had to warm up?
Well, a lot of the time, the dogs, they know something's changing, and
Okay.
they get really whiny and they start crying for their trainers. He didn't do that. He actually, started like running around the room and just sniffing everything. And then every once in a while, he'd come up to me, lick me, and just run off and And I was sort of just sitting there watching him, in a little bit of a shock, thinking, well, this is real now. And I
Right.
remember, speaking out loud and saying, I guess you and me are partners, and I'll be there for you, and you'll be there for me. And from now on,
Absolutely.
we'll go through. And I actually cried a little bit.
Oh,
And
wow.
he came up to me and licked me again and kind of just went off and played. And then after that, we do our first real walk together with him on harness.
Okay.
There's no real formal training. They just sort of like want you to let him guide you. He's very fast, so he was just pulling me and he was kind of just like flying through the grounds. And
Talk about that. When they train them based on repetition.
Yeah.
But talk about how he helps you, how he manages a day or a walk with you. Tell us a little bit about how and what he does.
He's very used to familiarity. So he, if I say to him, let's go to Walgreens, he doesn't know where that is. Or let's go to the gym, he doesn't know. But there's a certain repetition that we go through. So every day, if he sees that we're walking towards the gym, he's like, oh, he must be trying to go to that place we go to every day. And, his job isn't necessarily, he doesn't know where we're going per se.
Okay.
But his job is primarily to make sure that I don't walk into anything on the way to a place.
Okay.
So he does understand the concept of left and right. So if I say go left, he'll go left. If I say go right, he'll go right. If I say, forward, he means he wants me to go straight. He kind of picked up the idea of back a little bit, because sometimes we'll get too close to the curve for my liking. So I'll say back, and he'll just sort of like back up a tiny bit.
Interesting. So even certain commands he understands.
And he like I said, he knows certain buildings if we're going towards them.
What about narrow paths?
Narrow paths, he understands, he kind of always stops a little bit, and he kind of looks back at me waiting for my command, because he can't talk to me. So it's kind of my responsibility to figure out what he's trying to tell me.
Okay.
Usually I might step forward, take kind of feel
Sure.
out. If it seems a little safe, I'll say go forward. And if there's any obstacle, he'll go around it. If it's a narrow path, he'll kind of slow down and he'll kind of like crawl us through it. And if there's any like protruding branches or bushes or anything that he might see as a problem, he'll either stop or he'll try to walk me around it. So he's responsible from head to toe to sort of like measure, is his head going to hit that branch Should I take him around, or is it okay? It seems like he's okay, so he'll walk me through it, and then I'll miss it.
And you'll, wow.
Sometimes he does. It's a lot of responsibility for him, so he doesn't. It's not perfect, but it's
Sure.
close.
Good. That's really good.
So
How long has Ozzy been your service pet?
he's been with me close to 5 years. January will be 6 years. I'm sorry.
6 years.
No, I'm sorry, 5 years. 5 years.
And how long do they generally tend to, what's their longevity to be a service pet?
From what I was told, it varies, but the average career a working dog has is anywhere between 8 to 10 years.
Okay.
I got him when he was 2, and he's going to be 7 in February. By the time I get out of my doctoral studies, if I get that far,
Sure.
he'll probably be retired, so maybe another 3 to 5 years, give or take.
Okay. And after 3 to 5 years, what do you decide? Do you get a new CNI dog? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the thing is, you have a choice to make at that point. Once they get a little older, you start noticing they're not walking as fast, their patience might be a little lower. They might not be doing as good a job as they used to. So you can individually retire them yourself and just sort of move on, or you call the seeing eye and they give an assessment. It seems like he might, his time might be up.
And if that was the case, you would keep him?
Well, you have a choice. You can either put him up for adoption, and the seeing eye generally takes care of that. They find a home. These dogs
Okay.
are really in high demand, so
Sure,
it's not
sure.
really a problem. And they try to put them in homes where
Sure.
they're going to have really great lives.
Great,
The other
great.
choice is to retire them, but they're just a normal dog at that point. You're just keeping them.
Very good. Well, thank you so
yeah, no
much.
problem.
It's very informative.
Thank you.
I think Ozzy's a great service pet. I think he's a great team member. Thank you so much for
Appreciate it.
informing us. Therapy and service pets are quite extraordinary, and the infinite relationship man has with dog provide many health benefits. If you would like any more information on the CNI, a philanthropic organizational whose mission is to enhance the independence and dignity and self-confidence of people who are blind, please contact them at 973-539-4425 or email them at info@cni.org. That wraps up this edition of Carpe Diem. For more information on this or any other program of Carpe Diem, write to us at the email address on your screen, carpediem@mail.montclair.edu, or call us at 973-655-5158. Until next time, I'm Alex Guilloty. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, Vaj.